This is the Gospel Journal Malawi, and welcome to the 3 days of prayer and fasting in what we call the Esther Challenge. So, the Esther Challenge, we go into the story of the book of Esther to understand the power of prayer and fasting that was demonstrated by Esther and the Jews when they prayed for God's intervention, and they were saved. And I just want to speak to you. God's intervention in your life is not far away. It is just on your lips. So as you join these 3 days of prayer and fasting, I pray that you should experience God's visitation and intervention. So today we begin by looking at what God can do to save his children. So in Esther chapter number 3, verse number 8, we hear, Then Haman said to King Xerxes, There is a certain people dispersed and scattered among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom, whose customs are different from those of all other people, and who do not obey the king's laws. It is not in king's best interest to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, in verse number 9, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I'll put 10,000 talents, that is about 340 tons of silver, into the royal treasury for the men who carry out this business. See what? We live in a world where there's full of evil. And as I speak the word of Christ, there is evil planned against you, and there is evil planned against me. There is evil planned against God's children. We see what Haman had done. He was talking to the king and said, there are people who are not conforming to what we are and what we do. A lot of people today, especially those who are God's children, because they seek righteousness and they abide by the word of Christ, they are different from how the world operates. And all the time, there are people like Haman who report them to authorities. And when they go, they also say the same words that Haman said to King Xerxes, that there are certain people dispersed among the peoples of this kingdom who have a different custom and are different from us. They go to your bosses to say the same things, that there is somebody in this office, in this working place, in this political party, in this church, in this choir, in this business area, who is different from us. And if it pleases you, let this person disappear. All the time we live in such kind of a scenario. A lot of people are being persecuted for being in a different political party, and some are being persecuted for sharing their opinion on a matter, and the opinion is different from those who are in authority. A lot of people are being persecuted for little things, just because maybe those who are persecuting them, they are afraid or they are not happy with them. So all the time evil is building around us. We need God's intervention that can save our lives. You see, the Jews in a foreign land, and they are also surrounded by enemies, and there is a plan against them, the plan that is already a back road, but it took God to protect them. As I speak, God is working a plan to protect you against your enemies who are working so hard to take you down. So today, let's begin our prayer and fasting, understanding the context we are in. We live in a world, in an environment where there is always opposition and evil. And let us pray that God would do something to protect his children, and especially you. Let God come quickly and bring intervention for you, for your situation to resolve, and that indeed you enjoy the best of the days in the land of the living. Today, spend time to pray for God's interventions, not only against enemies, but also pray against all sorts of evil, be it through illnesses, accidents, and so many other things, that God will protect you, that you should be under the umbrella of God's authority and God's canopy of grace. And it is my prayer that you today, you begin to see the shifting of the tectonic plates of evil away from your zone, and that you will begin to experience greater love from God. And may this begin your 3 days of prayer and fasting as you pray for God's intervention in all areas, that the plans of the enemy would not succeed. I pray for success, and I pray that God will visit you today. Keep on praying today, and I pray that you will not tire and you win this challenge. There will be days you feel so exhausted and you feel like you are just wasting your time. But there is great reward. Ask Esther. Good morning.